Hey there, friends. My name's Clage. If you've never heard of me, I've been playing Guilty Gear for about 18 years, commentating. I'm a lead commentator for Frosty Faustings every year, and the purpose of this video is going to be to highlight Anji Mito's counter hit potential in realistic match situations where you're going to get a counter hit, because right now he's a flawed character, but one of the biggest strengths he does have is that his ability to convert off counter hits into really, really big damage for no meter or very little meter with a wall break is very high. It's probably the best thing he has going for him as a character. I've been playing Anji for 18 years, and while this is definitely a very different iteration of him than the old XX series, he's still kind of the same character, and I've been learning how to adapt to Strive's new style of gameplay. So if you're new to Guilty Gear and you're just trying out Strive for the first time getting the series, welcome. I hope you're having a good time. This video is definitely not going to be a basics by basics kind of thing. This is specifically about Anji, about how to maximize, for the most part, his counter hits and to help people get more damage when they score those big hits, because that right now is a big key to success with Anji, especially above beginner and intermediate levels. You really need to cash out your damage. So the main thing I'm going to show is the various moves that you are likely to score a big counter hit with during a match and how to get the most out of it based on how close you are or are not to the wall. The big thing with counter hits in Strive is obviously you get the big slowdown, so you get to walk up and, crouching heavy, boom, the big old slowdown. You have a chance to confirm all that good stuff. I'm starting off talking about crouching heavy because a lot of the early tech and videos you saw, especially if you were searching the Anji hashtag on Twitter, showed a lot of combos starting with this. And this is all well and good. You can do all kinds of fun stuff off of crouching heavy, and the damage is hellacious. But the big problem is that you're not realistically going to counter hit with this move during matches. The only way you're really going to get counter hits is if you frame trap someone by doing a delayed crouching heavy. But good players have learned very quickly there is no reason to mash against Anji when he is doing basic pressure. Because so many of his moves are down frames, it's much easier to just wait him out and let his turn come to an end naturally than it is to ever try and mash against him, especially in those situations. So this move, you're not going to be throwing it out in neutral very often. It's very slow. The range on it isn't particularly great, and if you whiff it, it's real bad. So I want to show moves that you actually will want to use in neutral or situations where you might catch someone on a whiff or catch them dashing in, recklessly, that kind of thing. So these are going to be the counter hits that I think you're more likely to see regularly in your matches, and this has been my experience. I'm currently 747 or something in the Celestial ranks right now, so I've been playing Anji a lot and kind of adapted as I've risen up playing stronger players more and more, and the thing I found is when I consistently confirm these big counter hits, or at least force a burst out of my opponent early, I can have some pretty solid success, and if I'm dropping these, it's usually bad news. So this is something that's really easy to practice, really easy to get used to. It's easier than ever to confirm your counter hits in Strive. So this is going to be hopefully a primer that will help people out in maximizing their damage with Anji when you get one of those big counter hits. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this move, his sweep. Crouching Dust, 2D. Anji's sweep it looks kind of innocent, it's kind of slow, as a lot of the sweeps are. It doesn't look like it goes that far. But the big thing is this is one of the major counter hits. You get the big slowdown, the massive counter, everything. And this is a shockingly good poke at low profiles. This is a very realistic thing to hit a counter hit with in match. It'll go under a lot of far slashes. It goes under projectiles. So this is a move that you want to learn how to maximize your damage off of. So that's going to be the basic format. I'm going to show you the counter hit move, our starter, and then give you some basic combos. They're going to be very good combos. These are not looking for absolute max optimization. I'm not trying to show you, if you want to do 3 micro dashes and adjust frame link and all these things, you can get an extra 10. No, that's not the point here. These are meant to be consistent, realistic confirms that you can hit and be confident in hitting during a match so that when you counter hit someone, it's going to hurt. So let's start with Crouching Dust. I'm going to show proximity to the wall like at round start. So if your opponent is a little bit past halfway with their back to the wall, these will work almost universally. You're going to have to make some adjustments, especially for the heavier characters like Potemkin and Nagoriyuki. But with those characters, you're probably going to have to sacrifice some of the carry and rely on using meter to really get these big counter hits to go because they're so heavy. But this is going to work on the vast majority of the cast extremely well. I'm using Kai as a dummy because he's a nice, good default hitbox for trading mode in this game. So you might have to make small adjustments on some of these, but for the most part, these are going to be fairly universal and consistent against the vast majority of the cast. So, starting off, Crouching Dust. If you get a counter hit, I'm going to show the basic route of how you can carry all the way to the wall and break it if you so choose. So, there you go. So, I'm going to make sure I put all the notations down in the description, and I'm going to have timestamps separating the video so you can find these easily. But the general rule is what you want to do after a counter hit, Crouching Dust, is you immediately go into Fuujin and hop. This is going to allow you to get good corner carry and allow you to choose your option based on how far away you are from the wall. So I'm going to do this again. So Crouching Dust, Fuujin, 5S, 6H, Fuujin, Green, stand kick. You can spin in if you're far away, if you're not feeling confident. You can just do stand heavy. You can also just end with another Fuujin if you want. So you could go ba-dump, ba-dump, carry, green, kick, and just buffer Fuujin. Wall break, exact same damage, by the way. Whatever you're more comfortable with, there's no real advantage or disadvantage to how you end that combo. If you want to end these combos with super, you can. The caveat, and something I think a lot of people don't realize, is that tacking supers onto the end of wall break combos scales incredibly heavily. You're not doing it for damage. Most of the time, if you add Izanogi onto the end of a wall break combo, you're going to add maybe 10 damage, 20 if you're playing a very low defense character like Milia or Chip. So you're not doing it for damage. There's three main situations where you're going to want to end a combo for the wall break with your super. And that is, one, if you already have 100% tension, you might as well go ahead and use it, because otherwise you're not going to get anything out of the positive gain bonus that you get from breaking the wall. And at that point, you're just wasting tension. Like, you're not gaining any meter because it's already full. You might as well burn it there. Even if you're at like 70, 80% meter, it's probably worth going ahead and burning it because you're going to get back to 50% so fast with the positive bonus. The other, obviously, if it's going that extra like 10 to 20 damage is going to kill your opponent, yeah, go ahead and use super, obviously. That's a no-brainer. The third situation is if you're playing a matchup where you really, really, really value hard knockdown, if you super for a wall break, your opponent does not just get up and you go back to neutral after the wall break. They will be forced into a hard knockdown, and you do have time to run up and do some kind of Oki play on them. You're not going to be able to butterfly because it's too slow for that situation, but you will be able to go up, potentially meaty them, try to bait a reversal, stuff like that. So if you want to tack on a super, all you do is instead of doing stand heavy or Fuujin at the end, you just go into Izanogi. So sweep. Green, 5K, Izanogi. Very simple, very straightforward. And you'll see it was 193 before, 203 now. You get 10 extra damage. So just keep in mind, if you want to use super at the end, you're not doing it for the damage. Now, the more important part is you're not always going to be super close to the wall, right? So what do you want to do if you can't reach the wall and you want to maximize your damage, maybe get a knockdown or whatnot? Because if we do the same combo going this way, Green just whips. There's not a lot you can do about that. There is some trickery you can do with slightly charging Fuujin to try and create this wall carry. However, it gets very difficult and it becomes much more finicky depending on the character weight. So I don't recommend starting out with that until you're really, really comfortable with these combos. Even I am not super comfortable doing these, because if you drop that, you basically are letting the opponent tech and you've just whiffed Fuujin, and that's really bad for obvious reasons. So I'm going to show what I tend to use if I'm further away from the wall and want to get the most out of it. So instead of going into stand heavy, forward heavy, what I like to do is this. Cool. Now, There's a few things you can do with this depending on what you want to do, how much meter you have available. If you want to force a quicker stand-up and do OTG Oki, Anji has the option for that out of Ko. So you can do air dash, jump heavy. That'll force them to stand up quicker. If you do that, you can time stuff like a meaty stand heavy, stuff like this, try to catch them mashing or bait out a reversal. So that's usually worth doing. OTG damage is not trivial in this game, so it tacks on a decent bit of extra damage, and it allows you to do various mix-ups like throw a meaty, you can dash up, see if they're patient, throw them back into the corner, all sorts of fun stuff. If you want a wall break from this distance, pardon me while I get a drink of water, you're going to have to commit meter to a Roman cancel. Thankfully, it's very easy to do this and still get all the way to the wall and break it. So if you want to do this, we're going to go like this. Late. My apologies. Let's do that again. Go again. Jump dust for the wall stick. Jump up, jump dust. Easy wall break. A little over 200 damage on Kai with no wrist gauge cranked. So if you've been making them block for a little bit, it's going to do a very healthy chunk of damage. So with 50%, pretty much almost anywhere on screen, you're going to be able to get your wall break. Another important option is, let's say you're not quite at easy carry distance, so you don't want to try to do the stand heavy, forward heavy carry. You can also just let Ko knock down if you're fairly close. Because Ko is a hard knockdown, this allows you to do stuff like butterfly Oki. So stuff like that. And if you're a little closer, say you land about here, if you want to let them tech and then just, you know, get up naturally from the hard knockdown, this is a good range to do that. So that is always an option. Always keep in mind, you can just let Ko finish, land, and they have to take a hard knockdown. Like, you are at advantage. It's not going to be the greatest Oki setup. It's not like a throw where you get a very good butterfly setup, but it is an option if you don't really want to break the wall right that second. You want to try and corner your opponent. So that's something to keep in mind. So those two carries going back and forth are very much the basis for all these counter hits that I'm going to show you. Once you learn how to do the carry of this into this Fuujin Rin, you can basically do these wall carries whenever you want. Same thing with doing Ko, Roman cancel land, stand slash, crouching heavy Ko. These work pretty much universally for all the counter hits you're going to see. It's just how you start and get the launch is going to vary. So that's crouching dust. You're going to hit these a lot. Practice this until it's just second nature for you to do this on reaction every time you get a counter hit. Like 193 damage meterless for hitting someone with a low profile move that counter hits. That's really good. That will take you a long ways in having successful matches. So the next move I want to talk about is this, stand heavy. Stand heavy is an amazing starter, and it allows for some serious damage on counter hit. This move is a solid poke. Yes, it's a little slow, but it covers good space. This is also one of the better hitboxes Anji has. He has a very good outward hitbox on this and a very small hurt box. It's very hard for your opponent to trade or counter poke with this. So if you catch someone doing stuff at max range, or you bait like a big dragon punch like Leo's flash kick, for example, you time this when they land and you get to party for big damage. So let's show the combos going both way again. So when you get a stand heavy, what you're going to do is when you see this happen, you immediately go into a fully charged Fuujin, and that's how you're going to get your launch. So charge Fuujin, hop. Same thing. Exact same thing as the last combo. It's just we're launching via charged Fuujin instead of launching from the dust, getting them off the ground. So one more time. Forgive me for dropping these. It's a lot harder to actually speak annotation while doing a combo than it is to just do combo, but stand heavy, charge Fuujin, hop, 5S, 6S, kick, stand heavy. Same thing applies as before. If you feel like using super at the end of that is beneficial, go for it. It's going to do 10 more damage just like the last one did, but you'll get that hard knockdown. So the other way, same thing as last time. Heavy. Ko. Air dash at the end, do jump heavy to OTG them if you want. Again, you can let Ko resolve naturally, get your hard knockdown. Or if you want to get a wall break, same thing with the Roman cancel. And jump dust as you fall. Almost 240 damage. Not too bad for spending 50% meter, especially since you get the positive bonus out of it. You're going to regain that meter very fast. These are consistent on almost everyone. Very, very, very strong poke. So train yourself. If you see this counter hit, buffer Charged Fuujin immediately, because that is by far the best damage you're going to get. Something I want to note for all these is you want to delay the 5S after that launch as much as possible, because after you launch them and then you do the hop after Fuujin, if you try to push S too early, if you try to hit your slash button too early, what's going to happen is they're not going to actually be in proximity for close S to activate, and you're going to get far S, and this will not juggle. It's too slow. You're going to get a whiff, and that's going to be a bad time. So make sure you learn to just, after that hop, just delay a tiny bit, and then go stand slash into forward heavy. So that covers stand heavy. The next big one is very similar. So the same combos work with close S. The big difference with close S is you're not going to easily be able to buffer Charged Fuujin. Like, you're not going to be able to react because the counter isn't as large. You basically have to commit to this. If you're really, really good and on point and can react, you can do this. But if you even delay a little bit going into Charged Fuujin, it's not going to combo. So you want to... Oftentimes, what's more realistic to do off close S is just to immediately go into crouch heavy and just go into Ko. You can do the same thing both ways. This doesn't wall carry very far, so you can either do this Oki, or you can do a Roman cancel, get the full carry, and then wall stick them if you want. So it's all dependent on how confident you are. If you think you can react to this and immediately buffer Charged Fuujin, then you can get the full thing again. But just keep in mind that's a pretty tight window to do. If you're even the slightest bit off and you delay your buffer into Charged Fuujin, that's not going to combo. And then you're just going to get a blocked Fuujin most likely. So just depends on how confident you are with confirming your counter hit with a much smaller window. So combos are exactly the same as stand heavy. If you want to use Charged Fuujin, you can. Otherwise, just go into this. Now, speaking of Fuujin, obviously, this is a very common poke for Anji. It's better than some matchups than others. Charged Fuujin, obviously more range, can trigger auto guard. So you'll see a lot of tech that starts with Charged Fuujin for a counter hit. And while it's not super common you're going to hit that, this is a very good neutral spacing tool. You can catch people whiffing things with this. So I'm going to show you your basic counter hits off Fuujin and Charged Fuujin. If you do a regular Fuujin and counter hit, you can't get a launch without spending meters. So if you ever just get a counter hit regular Fuujin, immediately hop and just do your basic bread and butter. So if you want to see that again, Fuujin, hop, stand slash, stand heavy, Fuujin, nagi hop. If you want to get a wall break or actually get a launch out of this, what you're going to do is Roman cancel after nagi hop. Get your launch. Ko, wall stick, jump dust. There you go. So regular Fuujin, you're not going to be able to get much out of that other than a soft knockdown unless you spend meter. Still good damage, still good to recognize because you're going to do well with that. You can, of course, also do stuff like this. If you see a counter hit, you can immediately go into Reen and see what you can reach. But with Reen, it recovers so slowly that at mid-screen, it's really hard to extend off of it, especially on any character that's not super light. So if you just want a good, consistent combo, just going straight into hop into this is a nice basic way to be able to handle things. So we've done stand heavy, stand slash. We're talking about Fuujin. Like I said, there's regular Fuujin. Charged Fuujin is much more juicy. Charged Fuujin is really important for confirming these because not only is it good damage like the rest of the counter hits, it has some of the highest corner carry potential of any of Anji's counter hits. You can actually go both ways with this. You can go from the opposite side where Kai is standing and get a full wall carry, And you can do, obviously, with his back close to the wall right now. So if you get a charge Fuujin, you get a big launch. What you're going to do, hop forward. And you want to delay a little bit to let them fall so that all the hits of forward heavy connect. If the last hit of forward heavy doesn't connect, they'll fall out before the next Fuujin connects. So delay. A little bit too long of a delay that time. There you go. Green. And with these, the nice thing is that oftentimes you're going to be close enough to use stand slash instead of stand kick to go into Fuujin, which is a nice little bit of bonus damage and a lot easier to use. If you want to be super consistent, not worry about how far you are from the wall for something like this, you can do the same combo I've been showing. Stand kick, Fuujin, read. So, super easy. And as I was saying, if you're going the opposite way where your opponent is more than half screen away from the corner, you can still get to the corner without spending meter, which is why Charged Fuujin is such a powerful counter hit. So if you get this, what's going to happen is you're going to have to do a little bit of extra dashing, delay your juggles a little bit, and you're going to have to use a slightly charged Fuujin in the middle of this combo. What I mean by that is, obviously, if you just hit Fuujin, don't hold the button at all, you just get nice short-range Fuujin. You hold it as long as possible, he does a full auto-guard spin, and then does Fuujin. But you don't have to hold it all the way. You can hold it just a little, and this gives you a little bit of extra distance, and that's how you can make these corner carries work. So, going the other way, there you go. What's important to note is at the end of that, oftentimes what you're going to have to do is a micro dash into stand kick to get the last hit into your Fuujin so you can do the combo and get the wall stick. You can do that with the dash macro if you're more comfortable doing it. I tend to do double tap forward for micro dashes just because that's what I'm more used to timing-wise from playing Guilty Gear for so long without a dash button. Whatever's more comfortable, as long as you understand the timing to get a micro dash there, you're good to go. If you carry far enough, you oftentimes don't need the micro dash, and that's something as you get more familiar with these combos and counter hits, you can omit that to make life a little bit easier. So, one more time, show you again. Fuujin, hop, delay, micro dash, Fuujin, read. So Charged Fuujin, you can carry a long, long way. You just have to be prepared to dash to get it. So this one will take a little bit more practice. It's also going to be a little bit more finicky because of the juggle nature on it. So characters with different hitboxes as they fall, lighter characters or heavier characters, will act a little bit differently. So be sure to practice this on different characters so you know how to adjust. The nice part about all these combos I'm doing after these counter hits is once you know the basic formula of what goes into what, you can use this for all sorts of confirms, not just your counter hit confirms. You can use these for when you catch someone with an anti-air, not forward punch. There's not a lot you get off forward punch except a charged Fuujin or an immediate Ko, which is why I'm not going to highlight it here, because forward punch you pretty much have to spin meter if you want a full confirm, and I'm trying to highlight things that you have the option to either spin meter or not while still getting really big damage. So one more time, just because this is pretty tricky comparatively. See, I didn't charge the Fuujin that time, so he fell out. You just got to hold it just a little bit. It's like, it can be that much. If you kind of watch the stick input at the top of the screen, you can see how long I'm holding and then letting go. So, one more time. There we go. So, those are your good standing on the ground counter hits that you really need to work on confirming. If you can make all of these into big confirms every single time, your win rate and success with Anji is going to go up a lot very quickly. The big thing with all of these is that they're very easy to burst if you don't have meter to try and react and bait it. But the thing is if you hit one of these and force your opponent to burst early, obviously that's really good in your favor. Now you know the next big hit you get, they just have to take it. So even if you get this counter hit and all you get out of it is earning their burst, that's something you earned without spending meter. And if you happen to have the meter or catch them bursting in obvious places, you can even, Roman cancel, punish the burst, and get extra damage on top of it. So the last thing I want to talk about for a major counter hit that is big conversion when you learn how to do it is this, Ko. Ko is arguably Anji's best move in this game. It doesn't hit grounded characters, but it has such a good hitbox. Anji is more or less invulnerable as he starts up going in the air. He recovers incredibly quickly. It has a gigantic hitbox in the air. This move is very, very good for people who want to be grasshoppers and be in the air a lot. And if you score counter hits with it, the damage is obscene if you can learn how to convert it. So, we're going to set Kai to jump here, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen. So if you hit a counter hit with this, the big thing you're going to be doing, and I'm going to show you here so you can actually see it on camera, is you have time to air dash after Ko ends. So this is going to be learning how to do a delayed air dash into a jump slash, and then land and juggle them from there. This is going to allow you to do big damage, get wall carry, and a wall break without using any meter if they're fairly close to the wall. So here's the general idea. So we go up, Ko, and this is going to take some time. This is probably the hardest one of these to learn because it's very dependent on how high you hit them, what their hitbox is like, how heavy the character is. So these will take practice. There's a lot more variable to this, but the reward is so worth it if you start hitting this consistently. There you go. 218 for a counter hit Ko, no meter. Extremely good. Same thing as before, you have the option to use Isenogi, break the wall with the super if you want the hard knockdown. So once again, counter hit, air dash, stand slash. If you hit him really low like that, it's a lot harder. There you go. Fuujin, green, stand kick, Fuujin. This one, you just kind of... This is one you have to base on feel because of the way the camera works. You're not really going to be able to see yourself. So it's just one of those you have to learn how to time your air dash and time how long you want to delay jumping slash so that you can land and get close as. So one more time. Got crouching heavy because I have stupid hands. 1 second. And there you go. So, this is really important. This move is very good. It's very, very strong against people who want to jump too much. And just the general reward you get off Ko for the risk is one of the best returns Anji has because it's very difficult to punish this move. This move is really annoying for characters to deal with. It's one of the strongest things Anji has in his kit right now. So, the other thing is, what do you do if you're going the other way? Well, in that case... you're going to want to go into Ko. It's a lot harder to carry from further away. You're most likely not going to be able to do it, depending on the character. But if you hit it good heights, you can get this going the other way. This confirmed can carry a very long way. If you're not confident that you're going to reach the wall and you're worried about them falling out or Reen not connecting, you can just do what I did the first time and go into stand slash crouching heavy and just take a Ko going the other way. And then if you want to spin meter for a extension, you can. If you just want to let them get the hard knockdown from Ko, you can. It's just kind of match dependent. CC, stuff like that. But again, if you catch them high enough and you've got a good eye for where you're at on screen, you can often go ahead and try and carry them all the way to the corner. You might have to utilize that slightly charged Fuujin again in the middle of this combo. But there you go. So lots of distance if you catch with counter hit Ko. This is super, super important. So this is one very much worth your time to learn. Practice it on a lot of different characters. Again, the timing can adjust very slightly depending on how high you hit them, how heavy they are, all that stuff. This one definitely has the most variables. But again, for how low the risk is and the reward you get for hitting it, absolutely worth your time to learn. Something that's more common with light characters, and for just this occasion, I'm going to go grab Mei as my dummy. With lighter characters or characters that have super high jumps, Mei is a perfect example here. Oftentimes, you might have a situation where you counter hit with Ko, but only one of the hits happens. So you're not going to blow them away from you. You're just going to knock them almost straight up. So if that happens, you don't want to do the air dash after it. Instead, you just want to land and juggle with stand slash crouching heavy. So single hit. This is the basic one. Obviously, if you want to RC that, you can. Or if you want to try and corner carry, you can. It's just a lot trickier. So same thing. Oops, my bad. One hit, land. There you go. So it's a little bit trickier to get the carry. You're going to have to use that charge Fuujin. You might need a micro dash kick at the end. Going the other way, you're almost certainly not going to get this because you can't dash forward and really push them to the wall. Actually went under her that time. My bad. And yeah, too far. Rin's going to whip. So this definitely doesn't have the same potential for corner carry going the other way. In that case, just go into this. You can RC if you want and take the juggle. Obviously, I missed there because I need to adjust my timing. Since May is a lot lighter, you got to delay stuff a little bit longer. Let's see here. Is there anything else I really wanted to cover? I think that's most of the stuff. Oh, I know one other thing I do want to show you all. So I'm going to go back to the charge Fuujin counter hit real quick. My bad, I skipped over this in my notes because I'm good at reading my own script. The one other notable thing about charge Fuujin, if you hit with it, is it does set up at round start distance to do Anji's most damaging meterless combo. I just want to highlight that real quick. What this is this will use the jumping dust wall bounce for maximum damage. So if you hit with charge Fuujin, pop, a little high there. They are at the perfect distance for that. That does huge damage for no meter. I don't recommend using the jump dust wall bounce combos very often, just because it's extremely finicky about actually connecting. You have to have them at a very specific height where they're about a half a character length above you, and you aren't too deep in a combo so that they don't fall faster and you have the ability to actually do this juggle. But this is one of the few times where this is rather consistent if you're at this distance. So just something to note as an extra if you want to try something slightly more difficult. If you happen to notice you're at that range and you're comfortable going for the jump dust wall combo, that is the more optimal version of punishing on the charge Fuujin counter hit. But again, way more finicky and less consistent, so I wanted to highlight the more consistent counter hit options in this video. This has run a little bit longer than I hoped to. I'm a way too wordy person because I stream for a living, and I'm not very good at shutting up. But hopefully this will help all you potential Anji players out there to try and maximize your counter hit damage a little bit better, to get a better idea of how Anji's juggle combinations work. So you could, like I said, eventually you'll be able to use this on other stuff. Stray hits in the air in the corner, hitting with like a counter hit, non-charged dust, things like that. Stuff that you can use these same sorts of juggles to get more damage on other things. But counter hits are so important in this game because they're so easy to confirm now with the giant time stop that they give. And I honestly feel that if you want to succeed with Anji in this game, you have to be able to do stuff like this consistently. Like, this is just too much damage for so little meter to not take advantage of. So, hopefully this is a help. Again, sorry this is a little bit longer than I intended. I will put combo annotations down in the description best I can, so that'll hopefully be there, easy to do. I'll try and utilize YouTube's timestamps. I am not a YouTuber. That's why this is just an off-the-cuff spoken video with no editing. My YouTube channel is basically just for when I want to try and get out videos for stuff like this, just some information and knowledge-based stuff that'll hopefully help people out. So if you enjoyed the video, if you want to do the whole like sub thing, cool. I haven't made a dime off YouTube in my life, even though I'm technically monetized, so you're not going to hurt my feelings if If you're just here to get the knowledge and go apply it, hey, totally cool. If you enjoy this, you want to learn some more about Guilty Gear, I do stream for a living, twitch.tv/Clage. I have been streaming Guilty Gear quite a bit. I do a lot of other stuff. But if you just want to see Guilty Gear stuff, I tend to be streaming that late at night. I'm in the Central Time Zone. Oftentimes, I won't start playing till 10 p.m. or later, my time, because I'm on an overnight schedule. But if you want to stop by and learn some more, I'm probably going to be playing and streaming more gear here in the near future. Waiting for my upload to get fixed. That's why this video took me longer to get up than I wanted. But that's going to cover it. I'll stop yammering. Hopefully this was useful to y'all, and best of luck improving with Strive and becoming a better Anji player. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, hit me up, and I will do my best to help you out. So everybody take care. Thanks for watching.